We're going to install an air conditioner on this 1965 Oasis travel trailer. Originally it did not have one. I'll let you look inside real quick. You can see that space there is where the old vent hole was, and we're going to put the air conditioner over here because it's going to be in line with this upper cabinet for strength. And then up on the top, you can see I took off this roof truss right here because we're going to actually move the back a little bit and put the new air conditioner hole somewhere up in here. There's the old one that's covered up, so I have to remove this whole piece, the one over here, make new roof trusses to support the air conditioner. And to do that, excuse me, I have a couple 2x2s that I've already picked out that are pretty straight. When I do this, I will be doing this metal rod on both sides. So this would be, like there would be the beam, the metal, the wood and the metal. Or if you wanted to, you could do it this way with two pieces of wood with metal in between. This is my preferred way. When you measure this together, and it comes out to be the 1.5 inches plus 2/8, which is another quarter. So it's like 1 3/4 inches. I went to the hardware store and I picked up these 3/16 bolts. What I'll do is I'll have the bolt with a washer and then a locking washer and the nut on the other side. And I'll plan these out all the way down, leaving the space in the middle where my air conditioner is going to go. And so I'll return as soon as I get these drilled out. I'll show you what the beams look like done. And I have to do a little bit of work up on the roof there to remove that strip there where the pieces are going to go across. This trailer measures 84.5 inches. It's just over 7 foot wide. And I have cut these to that length already. And then these I cut a 1/2 inch shorter than the actual wood roof truss. So on each side, it'll be a 1/4 inch, like so. It'll be a 1/4 inch back because I want to make sure when the new aluminum roof comes on that it doesn't hit these edges or any of the metal parts. So we'll return shortly. All right, just real quick. So to get my air conditioner in the center of this wall, I measured out, found the center, took off the 7 1/8 because I'm going to do a 14 1/4 inch opening for the air conditioner. So minus that mark plus the width of this cabinet from here. So from here all the way over to the first edge of my air conditioner unit is 40 inches. So real quick, I do have the beams made. They are up here. So like I said, I do the metal, and I bolt them every foot. And then, you know, they're just beamed on. So what I'll have to do is take this bottom side, put construction adhesive, lay it down, mark from the inside, and shoot staples up to hold the ceiling to this plywood roof. And then, so to get the very left edge, I measured where, see if you can see inside here where this cabinet is and this beam are right on top of each other. And I measured this distance, made a spacer for this side and that side over there. So this beam is where it needs to go. I cut my 14 1/4 inch spacers, which is what I need for the width of the hole. And then I'll push these up to each other like so, and I'll screw everything down. But what I need to do is, because right here I have the metal and I have the wood, I'm going to have to kind of pilot my pocket hole screw from here to here, get the mark, and then drill through the metal because my pocket screws won't drill metal. So that way this whole assembly is done. These two runners are 14 1/4 as well to keep the distance from front and back at 14 1/4. So when I'm done, my hole will be 14 1/4 how I want it, and the measurements will be right. And then once that's completed, we will finish up filling in these spaces this space and getting the rest of the roof secured up to hold the air conditioner. And I don't know if you can see it in the video here, but these old trusses are tapered from the 1.5 inches to maybe 1 3/4 inches or 2 inches into the center. So once these are done, I will put a piece of plywood strip on top of these in the center where the air conditioner is. That way it's also raised. Originally where the roof was, the vent was, there was a 1/2 inch piece of plywood on top of that to make it so when the roof came out where the air conditioner sat, it was humped up a little bit to prevent water from going in. And I will recreate that so the air conditioner does sit up a little bit higher, and then it'll run all the way from the roof. So it'll take me a little bit of time. We'll get the rest of this screwed down, nailed down, glued down, prepped, and then I will cut that center hole of the plywood out. And then we will return and talk about what the next stages of adding an air conditioning to your vintage travel trailer will take. Talk to you later. Have a good break, and well, for you, I'll return shortly. For me, I won't. So here's a quick update where we're at. I do have the new hole location for the air conditioner taken care of. Is located here, as you can see, runs in line with those. And what I also do is up here, you can know that this is the stud, and when you watch and follow it down, you'll see I have screwed in a hole there, and there's a stud here, and you'll see that there's a screw there. Those help hold this cabinet up to these rafters, which, if you're watching, doesn't even budge because everything's nice and tight. And up top, we talked last time about these rods. So these are now installed. That's been stapled up from the bottom with glue. I added the fillers across on both sides, added some extra support. Obviously this is clean before I worked on that, but you can see that is the 14.5 inch square hole, and pretty much it's ready once I put a 1/2 inch strip of plywood on top of this to match the height of that runner and that runner, so it doesn't sag down. They have to be at the same height. Then that'll be prepped, insulated, and some electrical run up to it, and then we will, at some point in time, come back here and we will show the installation of the air conditioning itself. But for frame structure, this is the supports. This is all I use. I've never had a problem. I can hang on that hole, and I'm over 200 pounds and it doesn't even budge. So that should be strong enough for everybody. We'll see you when we're ready to start installing the air conditioner. All right, just a quick update on the air conditioner. We're getting ready, or getting close to do siding. And so I just wanted to show that I do have all my insulation, up on the roof. And I talked before about how these ones were crowned and the ones I put in were straight. So I had some scrap plywood, cut one just to see. So what's gonna happen is, hopefully you can see this. This piece here, when pushed in place, will be the same height as that one. So what I'll do is at these couple points, I'm gonna run runners across from here all the way over to here, and then make sure I'll have one of the outs. I'll have 4 runners on here. One here, one right on the air conditioner hole. Most importantly, if I left this as it was, the air conditioner would sit here and it would swoop down and hold puddle because the outside edges are higher. So we want to make sure we're at least as high, or maybe even a little higher if you could. So I'm going to get these prepped up, and then I'll show you that real quick, and then we'll return when it's actually time to install the air conditioner once the siding is on. All right, so we're back getting ready to install the air conditioner. This is the air conditioner that I am using. It is just the air conditioner, not the heater unit. And as you can see from the inside, the hole is ready. The power cord is there. And up on the top, we talked about raising part around the square. So you can see the roof is good, looks level. And I know it's hard to see, but around the top, I around a 1/2 inch piece of plywood around all 4 edges to raise the center so the water wants to wick away from the center hole and never sag. And of course, there's the power cord again. So since I am by myself, I am going to unpackage the air conditioner unit. I do have a forklift, and I will use it to set it up here, and then we will continue from there. I'll see you in a few minutes. So I just wanted to show the unit real quick. This is, of course, you saw the unit, the box, there it is. These are caps that would take this cover off. Just note there are little things that you have to be aware of, like this says, so they're talking about this screw. And in the directions it says that you have to attach this gasket to the trailer roof, but in this particular model and another one, this gasket is already attached to the air conditioner unit. So this is what's going to sit over the 14¼ inch hole up on the roof. And it's got its blocks. These are like a heavy neoprene. They're pretty dense. They do stick to the top of here. It's pre-attached. Well, you can do as you want, but I do not put any sealant on this because it will only deteriorate it over time, is my belief. So this does have enough squish in it, so when you're bolting it down and you're compressing it to the roof, it's going to seal this, which will seal on your roof. If you're not comfortable after that, you know, I guess you can put a seal around the outside to make sure, but being new, and I'm not sure what chemicals will dissolve this neoprene gasketing material, whatever it is, so I don't, because it should just seal on its own. Anyway, I just wanted you to see that. You do have, of course, your instruction manual that does come with it. Make sure you read through it and find all the little tips and tricks it might give you to make sure that you don't have a problem later. We'll be back. All right, so I do have the forklift on the roof, and mind you, if you did have a second set of hands, everything's a little bit easier, but I also have a forklift, so it's not going so bad. Other than that, there's the first drop on the roof. You can kind of see in there that, of course, is off a little bit because it has to be, because I don't have a guide person. But then when you go inside, here's what we have. I have the power off, so this is my power cord. You can see the gasket around, so I have to adjust the air conditioner unit forward and a little bit that way. So this gasket is perfectly lined around this hole. And then when I get the power ready, you can see up in here, here's all my power cords. It's 3 wires, hot, neutral, ground, hot, neutral, ground. We'll hook them up. And this is also on an extension, or I'm sorry, a retractable thing. So when you can pull it down, work on it, and then it'll just keep everything up. This little piece here goes to the cover box, and we'll get to that after the fact. But for right now, that's prepped. I'm gonna get lined up and we'll be back. All right, so we're back with this. It only took a minute or two to adjust this. So you can see, well, kinda, the black edge is pretty uniform all the way around. It's pretty straight. The air conditioner looks good. The wires are ready to go. I have to cut this one obviously shorter. I don't need that much length, but there is plenty of room up in here for wiring to sit. Something I didn't mention, maybe obvious, maybe not. The instructions will also tell you the same thing. That is the direction it goes. The air conditioner has to slope. That is the front of the trailer. Just something you need to know and point out. And then the air conditioning control box you buy separate, and it's in here. So I'll get this out and we'll show you that. That is a separate purchase. It does not come with the air conditioner. That covers that hole and gives you the finished look. We'll be back. All right, we're back real quick. I have the air conditioner cover opened. This is what comes in it. You have your tie-down brackets, corner brackets, washers, remote, screws. This runs between the air conditioner unit and the box. So what'll happen is this will get attached like that. Then we'll expand this piece here because it does expand. It's corrugated, so it'll expand. And then when this comes off, so remember this sits like this, it'll come off and then it'll sit up like that and everything will line up. And on the power end, this is the box, this is the control, so it does have that end, which if you remember, we'll go to this end right there. So I'm not gonna let you watch me take 15 minutes back and forth running. I'll be back once I get the next step prepared, and then we'll just move on from there. We'll see you shortly. All right, we're back for a couple minutes here. Not even a couple minutes. I do have this piece here now attached. You can see it's screwed up into the air conditioner unit, and then this piece is flexible and will come down to attach to this part of the box once I get to that point. But I just wanted to show, I did have to, which took the longest time, this part of the 2x2 up here I had to carve out, because when the box comes around, it needs to set up almost 3/4 inch, so I had to carve this out enough so this would go up and the box would sit on there. And I stripped the wires. I just want to show you, I do enjoy using these Wago connectors. They're quick release, so I put this on this end. Pretty much, you know, you strip your wires, you put them in, you clip them lock, so I can undo one easier by myself on the phone. So here would be like the white one. When you, so these are pretty tight between them, they're not going to go anywhere. And I like to use these because wire nuts can loosen up, these don't. And if you ever did have an issue, really all you have to do is pull this tab back and the wire's out, you're disconnected. They're pretty simple. So I will get the black box up installed on here next, and then we will return. See you shortly. So real quick on the mounting hardware, you remember I had the 4 bolts and wings, so this is how it's set up. You have the flat, the washer, and the long bolt, and in the plastic you can see there's a groove. What will happen is this sits in there and you tighten it. So I have this one partially tightened and this one, and you can see how it sits inside these grooves, and you're going to tighten it up a little bit more to the ceiling and make sure that everything looks, you know, appropriate and straight. So kind of work these 4 down in rotation and just make sure everything's going level. You know, so obviously I'll get this one next, do that one, and I'll work my way around. Get it nice and snug. You don't crank this to, you know, like 100 foot-pound torque or anything, because it is plastic and you're going through stuff, but you'll feel when it's snug enough. And I generally use a socket or a nut driver to get them pretty snug. So we'll be back when I have this all prepped up for you. All right, so what you didn't see is, remember I showed you the wire that was on here and the little 4-prong wire that came out of there? I couldn't really wait because I didn't want to hook those and have this hanging off that wire. So I just hooked those wires, made sure they're out of the way. This box cover just snaps in place, and then it's got 4 screw holes. You put it on. In the meantime, I did plug the trailer back in. So just another, maybe a tip or not, when you always plug your trailer in at a park, make sure all your breakers are off, plug the trailer in, and then hit your main. And then I work it through to make sure all my other things are running, hot water, refrigerator, outlets, and all that stuff. Turn off the charger right now. And then this one here is my 20 amp breaker for the air conditioner. So the air conditioner should be live. I put the batteries in the remote, and you can see it lit up. And it fired up. That is set at 70 degrees, which you can also see on the box. What's cool with this brand, with this remote, if you hit display button, that disappears. If you hit it again, it's on there. If you'd like to see what your temperature is, your remote will show you the same thing. And then you have your fan control, your modes on this one. Let me see if I can get you some better light here. We'll show that right now you see the snowflake, that's air conditioning, that's humidity, that's just running your fan. That shows, it's hard to tell, but that is a picture of the sun for the heat. But this air conditioning, this is just an AC unit, does not have heat, so you have, so we'll put it back to the, well, there's recirc, and then back to air conditioning. So that's on low right now. Tons of air blowing out of it. It's nice and cool already. It's not all that loud. So anyway, so hopefully this helped you if you're thinking about installing an air conditioner. I'll take you to the rooftop as it's still running real quick. You can hear that's running. It's a pretty quiet unit, and it's kind of hard to see, but that gasket, you can tell, like the siding has, you know, little ridges. That gasket is totally sucked down. I don't know if I can really show that, but it is totally sealed. Where you see light through over here, that's because that's where the seal isn't, and you can see where the seal is. There's no air gaps. That should seal for many years, and I would say maybe after, you know, do a season, then what I would suggest maybe doing, like everything else in your suspension, your tires, your lug nuts, you have to do a retightening, is you would just take these 4 screws off, pop this down, and then just make sure that your 4 bolts holding this unit are still the same tightness. If you look in the manual, I think it says you torque them down to like 7 foot-pounds, something like that. Just make sure you're following the directions. But anyway, I hope you enjoy this video and look for others that we're doing. And follow us on our Trailer Magic Facebook page, and we appreciate your watching our videos and giving us likes and comments. Bye.